Hi everyone, post-review Logan here. I'm recording this after I finished the review. Just an amendment letting you know that apparently the videos that we show in this were kind of like the works in progress, or like the songs as we sort of develop the EP. Just letting you know that the full quality final masters of the EP are actually featured in the Spotify version of Kuya Clint's Missing You EP. So if you want to hear like the full quality versions, completely finalized and stuff, go check out the EP after the review. It's really good music. Hopefully you enjoy it. But I still like the videos anyways, so check them out in a moment. See you in the review. Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today I have the pleasure of reviewing some tracks off of an EP titled The Missing You EP from an act named Kuya Clint. And if we switch over to here, we actually have the EP on YouTube. There is going to be 5 tracks we're going to be listening to today. That's 5. I can see here we've got a New Zealand, so I think we may have a fellow New Zealander today on the reviews. Kia ora, sup. We're going to listen through each of these tracks from start till finish. I'm going to hear what we think. Let's go. Let's do it. Oh, I'm loving the synths immediately. A little bit of that brass there. Ooh. Oh, that major lift at the end was pretty. And those trap drums are so tight. Vocals are kind of quiet. I'm wondering what kind of dynamic range we're going to have on those. We've got Only You as the first track. I'm not sure if I mentioned that going into that, but the first track is Only You. I love these R&B soulish kind of vibes with the vocals. There's a nice legato feel through those notes, and the overdubs are nice and warm as well. Having the kind of the full low MIDI resonant kind of filtered lo-fi synths kind of cut out for more of a plucked kind of string sound is a great choice here. Really kind of dope tone to it. Oh, coming back in with that was a smart move. And that simple guitar motif with those repeaters and delays is just absolutely sublime. Really great choice there tonally. I don't have nothing to do tonight but you. That's a smooth line there. Good job. Yeah, simple A-B distinction between those parts. Nice little bit of dissonance there, or tension with those guitars, or what is that instrument? It's nice to have everything come out on the old wall part, you know, just have a bit of space there. Okay. Good job, great, continue to develop it. The It's so romantic. You know, there was obviously a little bit of sort of sexual stuff going on in that previous verse, and there's nothing to say that sex can't be romantic, of course, but there's a sweetness to it, a sensuality that I really appreciate, and that's appropriate. It's a great first impression of what's going on with Kuya Clint's work. And I feel like we understand most of what's going on at this point of the track. We're reiterating the hook there for a little bit of sort of further clarification there. I know there's people who are into this kind of music, and I know they're just gonna vibe with it, man. I'm happy with the vocal mixing now. I just needed more time with it to understand how it was in regards to its overall presence. Nice panning there on the right side. I wasn't expecting that. A little bit of extra oomph and emphasis on it. It's a big one. It's a big sound to it. Excellent work. So it was a guitar he was using there. That's dope. And you've also got, he does reaction videos as well. So if you want to go check that out, maybe not right now, but like after the review, that'd be great. Yeah, fantastic introduction to Kuya Clint's work. You know, it makes me happy when I see people actually playing their instruments. I know it's such an old school mentality. I'm not saying that technology is bad. At the same time though, you know, it's nice just that to have the performance behind it, you know. But what do we have next in the playlist? Oh, Modern Romance, track number 2. What are we using for those brass parts? Are they samples, or have we got a funny sort of sound? Not funny isn't bad, but have we got like sort of interesting sounding synth going on there? Oh, that extended harmony there at the end was unexpected, but I still really appreciate it. It was a sassy bit of sophistication there and very satisfying. Softly across my skin. Great use of repeaters to fill the space. Gets me thinking, where have you been? I know you're coming home tonight. It's been a while. Oh, hang on. I try to usually talk about what the tracks are about in between. I've just realized that I didn't really talk about the previous track. So I think that Only You was about someone talking to their love interest saying, yo, we don't have anything else. My focus is on you. Let's just let it be us, you know, in bed tonight, whatever they're doing, you know, whatever they get up to, you know. And I think this here could be following on from that potentially. A lady in the streets, but in the sheets go out. Oh, damn, man. Classy. Bring that ass up, face down, baby. You know how I like it. And when you wrap your legs around me, baby, you know how I want it. Cause you got a modern romance. I love how the bass is coming into this part. We've had a sort of consistency with the percussion, but just that bass in the low end is just smacks, dude. And obviously there's very vivid imagery going on with the lyrics. Yeah, I think it's following on from Only You. Hitting those melodies there. Oh, little harmonies as well. Dope, dude. I like the fact we didn't kind of resolve to the root note of that. We kind of held on to a similar sort of tension that the harmony was facilitating there with those extensions. And it's just great, you know. I'm liking the mix up of the different rhythms with the hi-hats and the 16ths and 8ths and stuff. Fourth harmonies? Incomparable state of bliss, I know. Great choice there to put it in for a moment and take it away. A little bit of shift and change for the listener. Cause when you bring that ass up, face down, baby, you know how I like it. And when you wrap your legs around me, baby, you know how I want it. This music fucks. I'm just gonna say it, man. Excuse the bad language, but this music does that. Cause you got a mother romance that cancels other plans when I'm around. Private love is just the two of us. Straight down to it up until the sun goes down. Cause you got that modern romance. If you're gonna sing about this kind of stuff, A, you better be a good singer, and B, you better have that confidence, and I think we got both here. I'm happy for Kuya Clint. Hey, synth solo. Great switch up, dude. Great choice. You know, very familiar with that voice at this point. Just having a separate toned or colored lead is a great kind of way to freshen things up. That you give is so serene, heavenly. Oh, are we switching it up completely here? Nice round whooshes kind of future bassy kind of synths. Neo soulish. Oh. A little angel, baby, I know how you want it. Fuck you so good, I'ma leave your legs shaking. Wake you up tomorrow morning, it'll we're smiling. I'ma treat you what you're worth. Give you all the love that you deserve. Send you to a special place on earth. Cause you know, I know you do the same, babe. It's such a simple motif in the background, but you're like, hang on every word. I think a lot of people are going to relate to the song and enjoy it. It was a really clever idea to increase the tempo, actually, to switch it up. I wasn't sure how it was going to work, but I don't mind a transition. I like the change there at the end where he talks about not necessarily deserving it, as if to sort of like say that we are aware that this is our opportunity and we need to make the most of it, but we also don't feel entitled and obligated to it. I'm very happy with that. I think that's a great choice there from Kuya Clint with that song. And now we have Filipina by Kuya Clint, track number 3 off the EP. Simple approach to the vocal style and timbre. Nice panning of that sort of filtered place on the left. The groove behind it, man, with those sort of lo-fi kind of heavily reverb soaked kind of chorusy parts there, and just the groove of the drums that we've had consistent tonally from the other 2 tracks, and it's just a vibe, man. Nice panning of the vocals as well there from side to side. Great attention to detail. You know that I'ma be there by your side. If only you that you be mine. You know that our forever starts the night through the highs and lows. You know that I'ma be beside you, running fast or slow. You know that I'm addicted to you, addicted Yeah, I like the fact that we're not only having those overdubs on the high end and the falsetto, but also on the left. There's constant movement around the headphones and the stereo field. It's very interesting to listen to. Catchy melody there. Got the hook sorted.
Could just start. Don't lump me with these other guys. I'd only play your but not your heart.
Good choice there. We all know. We all know.
The highs and lows. You know that I'ma be beside you. Want it fast or slow. You know that I'm addicted to you. Addicted to you, girl. Filipina, cutie chichinita. What you need, mestiza, pretty girl morena. Yeah, if this is what you want, just let me know. I don't want.
The 16th note groove on the hi-hats is almost hypnotic. It's just, and you lose track of it, but then it comes in sometimes when you sort of snap out of it.
Your heart be broken like before, no. Filipina, cutie chichinita. What you need, mestiza, pretty girl morena. Yeah, if this is what you want, just let me know. I don't want your heart be broken like before, no. No, you want it. No, you really want it. No doubt.
Great, just have the bass and the vocals. Nicely stacked in the frequency spectrum.
Wanna pay your parents back for giving life. And if your parents don't want you have a mind, I'll make your mom call me sweetie and your dad a son. Whoa. And baby girl, if you're the breadwinner, know that if you're with me, we gon' earn this bread together. And you hang out with your friends on.
Nice. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing, that equality there, dude.
Every weekend, trying to live life while you're struggling to meet ends. Hit you up, that's a sight, that's that Buddha fight. Pin you down and lock it up, that's that demon time. Cause you're the best I ever had, can't even lie. So good, I'ma turn you to my wife. Sincerity, that modern hospitality. Got it, girl. Filipina, cutie chichinita. What you need,
So this is about a Filipino lady that he's quite into and is fascinated by and sharing a sort of a romantic interest in. And it's kind of hypothetical, I think, at this point in time, whether or not they're going to get together, but he's basically selling himself to it, you know. I mean, I know you guys can probably pick that up from listening to it, but still. I'm a reviewer, I've got to talk about what the tracks are about. There's a chord note accent though that I kind of enjoy in the overall groove. Okay, we're bringing it down again. Okay, nice tempo change. Why at the end though? Why have we brought it down at the end? What is the meaning of it? Is it just that we didn't know how to finish the song? Yeah, I don't know why we did that. I don't know why. Were we simply not satisfied with just having it end on that chorus or like the instrumental outro? Did we want to sort of like stick the song in the listeners' minds or something like that? I'm not sure. This is something I probably have to ask Kuya Clint directly. I mean, like for that to be the only thing so far that I've heard within these 3 tracks, I'm kind of like, why? It was such an abrupt turn. I'm not sure why that was more abrupt. Maybe it was because of the vocal modulation that was going on with the tempo shift. I don't know, man. For that to be the only thing I'm not sort of unsure about after listening to 3 tracks, though, it's still a pretty strong EP as far as I'm concerned. Waiting. Kuya Clint featuring Zai or ZY. Yep. Auckland is a beautiful place, man. It's been ages since I've been there, but I'm keen to go up to Auckland at some point. Got a big rock shop with lots of cool music equipment that I want to check out, apparently.
Sun goes down. Just left my friends. I'm sad and alone again.
This is very sad to have after the Filipina song.
Keeping myself occupied to keep you out of my mind.
Nice choice there.
Missing the sounds you made, the faces that you made, feeling some type of way. Feels like I'm wasting, waiting to see you.
Naruto run, good job, man. Hey, that's cute. That was a really smooth transition to the lady we had there in that chorus section, and she's got a great voice. It's obviously very different to Kuya Clint's, so they kind of layer and stack well on top of each other.
You know that I miss you. Know that I miss you.
Screen keeps you away from me, just as I cut it. And they say
It's such an, she's got a phenomenal voice, great technique, nice filtering there as well. It sounds angelic, you know, sitting on top of everything else like that. Like literally, I got no complaints about this. It's a very nice contrast to what Kuya's doing.
I just don't buy it when I'm missing your taste, missing your warm embrace,
Missing your warm embrace,
the way you keep the pace,
the way you keep the pace.
feeling some type of way. Feels like I'm wasted, waiting to see you again, making and taking the time and the space. You know that I miss you.
Yeah, no, you don't want to jump in there, man. You don't want to jump in there. You don't want to jump in there, dude.
Know that I miss you.
They got some really interesting architecture up there, eh? Some interesting statues and stuff.
The only one for me.
I know that I will never.
It's nice to have a triplet groove to this with a little bit of a swing kind of bounce to the kicks. We haven't really had that yet, to be fair. And it's nice to also have the conversation between the two of them. You know, they're harmonizing sometimes, but usually it's just a sort of a chat they're having. And I like that that to and fro within music. It's that chemistry there.
Find love like this,
So
I will wait until then.
it won't
No, it won't matter what I
And just having the clicks there as well. You know, instead of a snare drum, it's so much more gentle there amongst those really kind of beautiful synth pads that they had alongside that. It's gorgeous. I got to give a shout out to the overall tone here. It does kind of remind me of acts like Joji and stuff like that.
feels like I'm wasting, waiting to see you again, making and taking the time and the space. You know that I miss you. Baby, wanna feel your lips. Know that I miss you. Oh no, no, just wanna kiss you.
I know that you know that I do wanna be with you.
Yeah, it's nice that it's kind of beautiful because they feel the same way about each other, you know. There's just the waiting from the different perspectives of the two, and they're not sure how the other person feels. And it's something you can only really confirm when you meet each other.
You know that I miss you, I do.
Oh, the plane. Are they a plane right away? Oh wow, crazy. So they were together so close but yet so far apart. You think they're in the same garden, but they're actually separate. It's rough, man. But honestly, though, it was such a sort of kind of pretty song with some upbeat sort of major triads and stuff like that, and some interesting extensions on any of those minor chords there. Again, with that neo soul kind of R&B-ish kind of vibe there. That even though if it was a bit sad, that it necessarily, it's kind of bittersweet. I suppose that's the way to best describe the previous track. You know, we got Love Distant Letters, track number 5.
It's not that strong anymore. Not worth holding on. It's the
Oh no.
storm.
So is this basically the intensity at the start kind of leveling out over time, and now we're looking,
Tensions rise.
damn dude.
The distance between us is miles apart. Now I'm further away from you. 'Cause what we have is hard to keep. Now won't admit that we have lost it. And though
There's a simple motif, a 2-chord motif behind it with lots of little implications going on with the percussion there. A nice panning of the different vocal layers that makes it sound a lot bigger.
I'll do
Oh, some whooshy parts? Okay, interesting choice there.
just to be with you.
Little subtle sub layers there. They come in left and right.
If what you want me to be doing is to let you go, just wanna let you know if this love letters will keep you from going on. If this love letters will keep this thing going strong.
Do we have a backing vocalist? Is ZY back for this? Because I can hear a similar voice to hers within this. Is she doing sort of more of a support feature in this? I hope so. She's a fantastic singer. I think so. I think so. It's just nice to have the heartbeat of those kicks there as a soul kind of reminder that you're alone. I mean, it's not a nice feeling, but it's good musically from a composition perspective.
Or if there's no one involved, I just neglected, didn't bother. And all the things that said and done, I thought would be forever. Just say what's needed done. If it'll meant whatever's ever. And though I'll do the things you want me to just to be with you.
That's kind of rough. You know, they're in the bargaining stage of the situation.
Just say the word, but oh, if what you want me to be doing is to let you go, just wanna let you know if this love.
We've really mastered our vocal harmonies across this EP. I think that Kuya Clint is really comfortable within this type of genre, within this type of music, and he knows what works and what doesn't. And I think he's picked the right sounds and the right people to get involved with this.
Letters will keep you from going on. If this love letters will keep this thing going strong. And if you won't be staying, then it's time to walk away. In your heart, it all depends whether this all truly ends. For all the times I wasn't able to put you first.
So we're looking into ourselves at this point and understanding that we may have been responsible for some of the situation. I like that roundness there. We talked the big game at the start, but we've realized that maybe things were harder than we thought it would be.
That you aside and made
It's a really pretty video, by the way. I'm really enjoying the video as well.
For crossing the line with everything to lose. If this love.
Okay, interesting your choice having the half bar there with everything to lose. It would have maybe been more powerful if we'd had things completely sort of drop out at that point, but it's okay.
Letters will keep you from going on. If this love. Letters will keep this thing going strong. And if you won't be staying, then it's time to walk away. In your heart, it all depends whether this all truly ends.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about it, man, is understanding that you don't have any control over it when it's a relationship or it's a situation like that. It's got to be both people, man. Damn, man. Wow. What an EP. Because this is effectively the conclusion of my review of the Missing You EP. What do I think this EP is about? I think this EP is about an individual who is very, very into a person of the same or the opposite sex. I'm going to assume a lady. I'm going to assume a lady. They're very, very interested in a lady. And you know, they're at the start, you know, there's this passion, this intimacy. They're clearly completely rocking it. They're clearly completely into each other. There are no issues there. Everything's very compatible. I mean, the first track was them just staying together, you know, like just being together with nothing else to do, just themselves being the world they're in. I think as we go on, if we go through tracks like, you know, Modern Romance, we continue to appreciate especially the sort of sexuality, the physical intimacy and everything like that. Filipina is sort of more talking about maybe the complications, you know, especially about like being accepted by the family and stuff like that and wanting to marry the person and such, you know, and looking at their future together. And then I think Waiting is realizing that maybe you and the person have some distance between yourselves, and you maybe aren't as close as you used to be, and you're trying to figure each other out, but it's very difficult for you to do so because you're unable to communicate. And then finally, Love Distant Letters is basically when you are that far apart and you're kind of like having to sort of like just kind of gamble on whether or not they still want to be with you anymore. So I think this is about the gradual disintegration of a relationship or a flame of something, some kind of connection between two people. I think it's incredibly well told. You know, it's very intimate. It's very raw and very authentic and very organic. And I think this is the kind of music that we need more of. I'm very, very happy with what I've heard from you know, Kuya Clint Amores today. I really want to hear more from this musician if they're able to tell stories like this. I think there's going to be a lot of people who can relate to this music, who can sort of like empathize or sympathize with it. They've been through the situation before. I think relationships, love, you know, like attraction, all that kind of stuff. There's something that most people sort of like come to terms with in everyday life. Yeah, there's going to be an audience for this. I think that the vocals from Kuya Clint were great. I really enjoyed them. He's got a softness, a very nice palette, which works well within the genre that he's trying to do with that sort of more contemporary, sort of like future kind of neo-soulish kind of R&B sort of stuff. And that's also very popular in like pop music nowadays as well. You know, like there's a lot here that I think is going to do well. I mean, 44,000 plays on Love Distant Letters. That's a good amount. That's a good amount of attention now. We were comfortable within our head and chest voice. We knew how to sing in a way that was appropriate for the subject matter that we were discussing. We knew how to stay present within a mix and how to sort of balance and phrase ourselves so that it didn't get sort of washed up in the arrangement. And you know, there was a nice amount of dynamic range to the performance as well. Nothing was overwhelmed by it. Even if it was quiet, you could still hear him where it needed to be, and it was just a little bit more kind of made you listen a little more closely. And the storytelling as well, coupled with that, it seems like it's coming from the heart, man. And that's what you need from musicians. You need, again, that connection, that genuine sort of nature to it in order to really sort of vibe, especially when you're talking about stuff like love and relationships and all that. I think that with Kuya Clint's work on the actual sort of like tracks themselves, each of these songs had a similar sort of style with these sort of soft synthy parts, some sort of trappish kind of drums, or some clicks occasionally for like the waiting part. I think it was waiting. We had similar tones to the drum beats with the hi-hat, snare, or click and sort of kick focuses. It was a nice tight side chaining to that worked well with some of those more sort of like pumpy kind of basses, although we never had a filthy amount of sub bass or anything like that. The basses were usually well rounded, or they came in nice and gently and kind of faded in and out and stuff like that. There were no sort of sharp sounds in the mix. It was meant to be something that you could kind of sort of like warm your heart and soul to. And even if there was a little bit of risque stuff going on there lyrically, it never was too much. It always, you know, you're always sort of in that world covered by a blanket. You could imagine being with that someone, and then you could also imagine that separation from someone. The motifs in general sounded there was a lot of sensuality with them. There was a sort of a bittersweet tone to them, as if nothing was ever totally perfect or totally happy or totally sad. It showed the emotional complexity, especially with some of those sort of extended harmonies that we had throughout those sort of pad parts and guitar parts. The vocals especially had lots of interesting sort of harmonies, both with the normal, with the straight main vocals and the side pan ones, and also the featured vocals from ZY or Zai. Damn, they were good. Again, she's a sensational singer, and Kuya Clint and Zai worked really well together, and I hope they get to collaborate on more projects in future. But like, it's an fundamental understanding of music theory and composition that allows you to have such a minimalist amount of instruments, but make a song sound so huge. And I think that's what we did here. A lot of it was to do with the production, like the panning and the automation of filtering and reverbs and delays on the vocals and some of those other sort of synth pad parts. But it's also testament to having sort of like a main sort of concept, a 2 or 3 or even a 4-note bass line or like chord progression there, that you then sort of layer gently and bring things away and have space and then make things bigger, but never too big because you don't want to overwhelm the listener, because that's what could happen. And you don't need that in music if you had too much stuff. It was easy to digest the main themes that were within this track. At the same time, it was also thoroughly pleasant to have that sort of emotional complexity there with those harmonies, some of those sort of synth ideas. And when we did have like alternative sort of lead melodies to what Kuya was doing with the vocals, they were really pleasant to listen to as well. Like, I liked some of the synth alternatives there, that we had some synth leads occasionally. I like the chemistry with call and response between Kuya and Zai and Waiting. And I like the unison when they came together as well. Again, they stacked nicely on top of each other in the frequency spectrum. And it's a very sort of, and even like the switches between like the sort of the swing triplets and like Waiting to like the straight sort of 16th kind of 4/4s. Outside of that, it's just, it's smart stuff. It's smart stuff. We clearly understand how to write music, and we're clearly comfortable in our own shoes at this point. There's a lot to appreciate here. It's definitely a good start, great first impression. I mean, finally, the production, recording, mixing, and mastering was fantastic. I really enjoyed the tone of it. It does sound professional grade. It's ready for release. Kuya's vocals sounded nice and clear and soft and nicely balanced and filtered well, and as well as ZY's eyes against the synth pads, the guitar, the bass, and the drums, and the other sort of whooshy Foley sounds that we had there. There was constant movement and changes of where the vocals were. You had the main leads in the middle, but you also had some overdubs go from left to right and stuff, filtering with, again, the effects change, like the reverb, delay, and repeaters, and call and responses and stuff like that were great. Really grand. The production was obviously a focal point for this EP. They wanted to sort of get the best, sort of most contemporary, sort of like interesting sounding release they could, and I think that work there, that attention to detail has paid off. It's all nicely balanced, and there weren't any sort of weird resonances in the frequency spectrum. Again, nice and wide in the stereo field. You constantly felt like you're surrounded by the music. The tempo changes that we had occasionally were good. I'm still not totally set on the end to Filipina, but aside from that, the rest of them were great. And all in all, I'm very happy with this EP for the most part. And I suppose finally the limiting compression on the EP general was great. It was nice and loud without pumping, changes in perceived loudness and dynamic range. You know, again, from a fellow Kiwi to another, excellent effort. Excellent effort, Kuya Clint, because this is effectively my review of this track, this EP, by Kuya Clint. It's the Missing You EP. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Kuya Clint some love via their various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.